The newest production taking place at the Arena Stage, Fremont Ave, is a raw and electric drama that spans decades, diving deep into love, regret, and an intense game of spades. Here to share more on this journey is playwright Reggie D. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So as the background would suggest, and as what I just said would suggest, talk to me about what Fremont Ave is all about.
Fremont Avenue is a sort of exploration of generations of men that live in this house on Fremont Avenue. It takes place over 3 different periods. The first act is in the 60s, the second act is in the 90s, so lots of great nostalgia in both of those decades, and then the third act takes place now, centering their relationships with each other, how to love, and of course, how to play spades.
I was gonna say, is the play just one game of spades throughout time, or does it kind of pop up throughout the production?
No, it's thematic. It's thematic.
Yeah.
So the sort of the game gets introduced in the first act, and we see all the kinds of ways that traditions get passed down through family. So music is another tradition that gets passed down. Food is another tradition that gets passed down. But of course, the particular way that these men talk a mean game of smack over the spades table is another tradition that gets passed down.
Excellent. So what inspired you to write this?
You know, I was having a conversation with my uncle in 2021 about his time at UC Santa Cruz, where he was there at the same time as Huey Newton. And it's a thing that I had known about his life, but had never really gotten curious about. And I took out my phone and I was sitting in my grandparents' house with my grandpa and my uncle, and I just asked him one question, and the 3 of us talked for 4 hours about their lives and who they were before I came along. And I was like, that's so fascinating that I love these men so deeply, and I feel like I know them so well, but there's so much about their lives that I had no idea about. And so I got curious to imagine who these men were before I came along, and you know, 8 drafts later, here's a play.
8 drafts, wow, yeah. I was gonna ask, you know, this is clearly enriched by your family. You know, people talk about their heart books or their heart plays. Is this like a heart play for you? Did you put a lot of heart into it?
Yeah. You know, I think I feel very lucky to have been the beneficiary of a particular kind of love, particularly growing up as a queer black man in the early 90s. There's a lot of mythology around what that was like, and I feel very fortunate to have had a different experience, and so I was excited to put a different sort of spin on what a multi-generational familial love story could look like on stage.
Well, speaking of putting it to stage, can you talk about working with Arena Stage and what that production has been like? Yeah,
I mean, Arena Stage is kind of a dream place to put any new play. They've been, you know, a legendary theater in the American sort of zeitgeist for 75 years, and so to have my play premiere here is it's a dream come true. I keep pinching myself every day that I'm like, I'm gonna walk in the door and they're gonna be like, who are you? But no, we're still working. There's a set. We start tech this week. It's really a dream come true, and I can't wait for DC audiences to see the show.
That is fantastic. And I gotta ask, I meant to ask this before, Fremont Avenue, what city?
It is a city in Southern California, and I have found that as people have sort of come to experience the play, there's lots of Fremonts all over the place.
There are a lot of Fremont Avenues.
There's a Fremont in LA, there's one in San Francisco, but this is in a small Southern California suburb.
Okay, cool. And you talked a little bit about this before, about kind of bringing your family story to life, and working with Arena Stage is kind of a dream for you, but talk about, you know, this story of representation and kind of what it meant to you to bring this to life.
You know, I think it's really important for everyone to see multiple versions of humanity, and I think that in a lot of plays that center around the Black experience, a lot of them talk about trauma, and there are traumatic things in the Black experience to talk about. They talk about pain and all kinds of moments that are necessary to discuss. But I also feel like it's important to talk about joy. It's also important to talk about legacy. It's also important to talk about positive things. And you know, it's a really funny play, but it's a messy play. It's a complex play. These men all desperately need to go to therapy, but they have not gone to therapy yet. So
it does happen. It does happen.
So there will be lots of familiar laughs of discomfort and like, ooh, he shouldn't have said that, or oh, I wish he didn't do that, because I think that it can provide a wonderful possibility model for us to look and see our own lives and the stories of these strange men that nobody knows except me.
It's a beautiful way of describing it. Funny, complex, a little dysfunctional. I feel like all families are like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think you're bringing that to the stage. Well, thank you so much. If people want to see it, when can they see it?
They can see it starting October 8th
Awesome.
at Arena Stage in DC, and you won't want to miss it.
Well, huge congratulations to you, and thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Absolutely. We got the Arena Stage website on the screen right now if y'all want to see it.